Hello and welcome to episode 133 of Nolo Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good? No low time. Obed, good to be with you again, brother. Hope you're doing well.
Good to see you, man. Yeah, doing well. Still hanging on. No cabin fever yet. This week's been
Same.
pretty good. I've been actually able to sleep this week versus last week, man. Last week it kind of got to me there for a little bit. Couldn't sleep for a couple of days. Had a rough week overall. This week, you know what? I changed my medication schedule, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna take
Sometimes
this
it
thing at
does it.
night. Yeah, I'm not gonna take this thing at night. I'm just gonna take it, during the day, in the morning, whatever, and then go on. So, but doing well, man. How are you?
Dude, I'm living well. I feel the same as you. To your point, I'm good. I know it's for the greater good of everyone, staying in, staying social distant, and I'm not rushing it. I'm not one of those people. I don't think you're one of those people either. We understand the consequences of both, going out too early or also having the issues of financially certain things do need to move along. We get both sides. We're level-headed people.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, making the most of it, and so I've been able to get out this last weekend to slightly, getting little walks in more frequently, and that's always been nice to keep
That's good.
the mind clear. Um, and I've also got the chance to get to enjoy more of the DC Universe app as I'm trying to get through as much content as I can through this time. I was
Cool.
talking to someone else and saying like, man, like okay, I made this a point to go back to things that I don't usually have time to watch and kind of go back and get through different items, right? Like I mentioned to you earlier on, Stranger Things and other stuff, right? The Titans, right? So I'm like, man, okay, I'm doing pretty good here, but at some point, like I don't know how long this is gonna last. My hope is that some things are able to be continue to be edited remotely and some more new content comes out. We'll see. HBO Max is coming out May 27th, so I'll probably check out
Yeah.
that when that comes out because that's going to be supposedly included in my HBO subscription already. So I'll see how that goes. But with that being said, I watched Doom Patrol finally. So I
Okay.
got in and watched Doom Patrol. I'm not done with it yet. Early thoughts on it, it's different than I originally anticipated. I knew it was going to be more humorous, and I'm okay with that. I think that's what's cool about it. Like, generally speaking, between watching Titans and watching Swamp Thing and now watching Doom Patrol, like they do have three different shows with three different flavors. Like these were not the same kind of things, and I think that's very good breath of fresh air, right, for the DC universe. I mean, that's something that they've struggled from a cinematic standpoint, and tried to fix that more recently. And seeing on the smaller screen them try to really take some risk, I applaud that. And so with that being said, like yeah, taking more humorous take on it, but I do gotta say I don't think the the storyline or the big bad, if you might say, I don't think that they have it set up very well. I do think that it's like you if you don't love the characters, then you probably are not going to love the story. And so it's more so like leaning strongly on the strengths of the characters and the humor around the characters, which is um, probably the most best part. And that's where they put the emphasis on for the show. But most people do not have a strong background of the characters of the Doom Patrol characters. They don't have a strong understanding of who these people are, and I get that they're more obscure group. But that they still kind of give you enough of a mysteriousness around them and take a lot of time to let you understand the way they tick and the way they do the things and what their abilities are. And I think they showcase that part very well, and that's the strong suit of the show. So I look forward to try and see how much more I can get through of it. But I would say if you were interested, go ahead and check it out. But it's a common theme. The DC Universe Online subscription is not something that I would tell people you got to go out and sign up for it just as a fan of comic book content. There's plenty of very good comics that are on there. There's plenty of very good animation and so on, an historical library of stuff from the DC universe. but I still don't. I think for the price that they put out, I could see that it's not worth the price they put out. I think if
Yeah.
you're gonna put that kind of price, you need to keep delivering more frequent quality content, and I don't think that's good. But now there's rumors that are coming out that this thing is struggling so much that they're probably going to merge it into HBO Max. And there's plenty of staff supposedly that have, I was reading this last week, that supposedly have left working for the DC Universe subscription service just because they knew that looks like the writing's on the wall. Like this is not going to last very long. And HBO Max is the new cool thing at Warner's.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's no one's really talking about it. And like you said, they really have struggled to put new content out there. I did see, Joel, today that Swamp Thing's coming to CW. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. So they're putting the first season on there. So again, another reason not to get a subscription. Guess what? You don't have to pay to watch it. You can go watch it for free on the CW when that drops. Supposedly they're not going to put. They're not creating a season 2 still. It's not a plan. But when you start testing the waters, it's not the first time. That would be a strong indication they could bring back season 2. I've said before, I think Swamp Thing is actually really good. I think it's actually one of the better. I might have enjoyed that the most out of all the stuff I've watched between Doom Patrol and Titan so far. I think Swamp Thing actually is my favorite thing on the DC universe from an original content.
Yeah, you told me about it, and it seems definitely that's probably one of the better
Yeah,
one of the better properties, or one of the better handled properties in the service. So yeah, cool. Good to know, man. Yeah. Nothing much on my end. Still keeping at Final Fantasy. I'm almost at the end on Final Fantasy 7, so I'm probably gonna finish that the next day that I play it. Um, One big thing that I've been, doing. I'm still tinkering around with the new PC. And I went ahead, Joe, and the my CPU came with a 3-month trial for Game Pass. So I went ahead and activated that and started trying Game Pass. So meaning Xbox Game Pass. So the first thing is that the app is still in beta, the PC app. The PC app does not have all the games that you have on console. So you have around 100 games, maybe a little over 100 games. So not every game is there. And I'll go over some of the games that I saw briefly. So that is the biggest thing. The Game Pass for PC is only, I think it's $4.99 a month, so not bad at all. You get plenty, and if they keep adding more stuff, that's great. Definitely if you have both the PC version and the Xbox Game Pass, for the console itself, or the Ultimate Pass, that to me seems like the more robust offering. But still, it's there and it works. Only thing I had to do on my end was basically trick the machine into thinking that my DualShock 4 is an Xbox 360 controller. So basically, you trick the driver into thinking it's a 360 controller, and then you can use it, um, which is fine. So the thing is that Steam natively supports DualShock 4, like full blown support.
sure,
Like the PlayStation button takes you to your Steam library. That's how well
nice.
integrated it is. It's pretty good. So out of the box, it works good, but not on the Xbox Game Pass. So I had to just trick it, and then that started working. So I went ahead and downloaded 3 games, Joe. Games are really big, man. Like those that I tried to download Gears 4, and it was 128 gigs. So I actually just left it. I was like, I'm just gonna go with something smaller just to test it out first and see how that goes. So I downloaded 3 games. I downloaded the Gears of War one, uh what is they call it, Ultimate Edition or something like that, which is
Yeah,
basically like an uprest version of the original. I downloaded uh Hellblade. It was on Game Pass, so I downloaded Hellblade, and I downloaded um Bloodstained. So basically two games that I wanted to play. I wanted to play Hellblade and I wanted to play Bloodstained. So I downloaded those two, downloaded Gears of War for good measure, and just to test out the rig, right? So I've so far the only games that I've tested it with have been demos, and a couple of Sonic games that I've bought on a humble bundle months ago. That was like it was like 10, it was like 15 Sonic games or something like that for like $10, and I got it. So those worked fine. I mean, those some of those even work fine with my old laptop, which is not a good laptop. It's very old. So um, Gears of War. Um, I was able to run Gears of War on my setup on ultra settings, and it ran anywhere from like 75 to 93 FPS on ultra settings, 1080p. So it ran pretty good. Uh, it Bloodstain runs on a toaster, so it was everything was on epic settings, and it ran at 60 like stock. Like that's it's 60 locked on that game, and that it ran perfect. Uh, Hellblade, and here's when where it got really interesting, Joe. So Hellblade actually made the fan on the GPU like I'm gonna get blowing on this one.
Whoa.
So okay, I was able to run it on ultra settings or very high settings. Basically, that's what it has. Um, no problem, and it went anywhere from 53 to like 57 FPS. Um, so it was still pretty solid running it at all the basically like all set up.
That's
This
impressive.
card is yeah. I mean, this is an older car. I mean, it was a high end. It's a AMD or Radeon RX 480. So it's a 3-4 year old basically
That's
chipset
not bad.
on it. But it has 8 gigs of GDDR5. I overclocked it, so I was able to go ahead and overclock that with the native AMD solution, and it really works great. It runs a little bit hotter and uses a little bit more power, but it still runs very well. Um, but then I dropped the settings too high on Hellblade, and then it started running at like 65, 63 FPS, which was like, and it was like really a negligible difference. You couldn't really tell. Like at least, I mean, I have a 1080p panel, IPS, but I couldn't tell the difference. So I was able to run it like very like basically like full settings.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So right now I'm pretty happy with the setup. Like I was mentioning to you, the only thing that I gotta work on is cooling. I do got plenty of fans, but the fans that I got, unfortunately, I picked the wrong ones. Not the wrong ones because they do work, but they're loud and it drives me nuts. And I'm also running the stock Wraith. Uh, what do they call it? Wraith Stealth cooler that the Ryzen 5 comes in. And that Ryzen 5 3600, man, runs toasty. Like I can't use boost mode because I can natively boost it to 4.2 gigahertz. But if I boost it, man, that fan's gonna go like 100%. And it's like I can't deal with this crap. It's too loud. So like right now, I'm just running it at 3.6 gigahertz, and the fan's bearable. But it's it's a lot of work. Like this is like exactly what I was talking about, right? It's pretty exciting once you get done and you put your stuff in and it looks cool, right? And you do your cable management, which I have to go back and revisit, but I mean for the most part it's pretty much set. Um, but it's just going around and finagling around with all this stuff, and it's like I'm just not having fun with this thing. I just
Well,
want to.
well, well, what better time to do it than now, man?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I got plenty of time. And, and in between tasks for work, basically, I've been benchmarking and doing the stuff that I need to do. I have no plans on overclocking the CPU. I really don't want to strain it. I bought a new cooler for it, which is a lot more robust, but it's still not an option in my opinion. I don't want to stress it in that ways, and I'm not gonna do any major gaming. The GPU, yeah, because it's the software did it for me basically. AMD has a really good suite uh, of apps out there to manage Radeon cards. And I told the suite, it's like, can you overclock this card? And it just basically, it's like, all right, give me a second. I was like, yeah, I can overclock it to this speed. Okay, and, basically that's it. Um, so I'm just letting software control everything. I'm not gonna do anything myself. I just don't want to do that. But yeah, and it's been an experience because now I know how what this guys feel, and it's like, oh yeah, if I put in all this effort on this build, I better be able to run Fortnite on epic settings on Unreal Engine 5.
Oh boy,
Oh
here it
man,
comes.
yeah, that's a good segue though. But I want to talk about Mandalorian season 2, Joel. Take it away, man, because I'm so excited that it's
Yeah,
like, yeah.
no, they keep bringing on the Clone Wars connection. So this week we got two things. One thing that's a pretty much confirmed thing, breaking news, a report that Kay Sackhoff is joining the Mandalorian season 2 to play Bo-Katan, live action version of her. Wow, fantastic casting choice right there. Like, definitely looks the part, believable. Believable in action role. I mean, it's just a really solid choice there. So I'm very excited and excited for that character as
Yeah.
well because what does that mean for the Mandalorian? I mean, this is a woman that is deeply rooted into the history of Mandalore, and when I think about
Technically
what
part of the government.
technically a part of the
Yeah.
government, and so when I think about the some of the critiques that were given for the first season by some fans was like, well, Mando, some of his Mandalorian ways are not actually ways of the larger Mandalorian group. Like, for an example, we never take our helmets off. We're like, Bo-Katan is always walking around with her helmet on her side, and many of the other Mandalorians on the Clone Wars, right? Many of under the seasons, that was not a thing, right? They clearly take their helmets off all the time. So what do you mean about that? And then some other things as well. This is the way and stuff like that, right? So it's led us to believe that I'm getting my Star Wars nerd on for a second. And led us to believe that this is a smaller segment of Mandalorians. That yes, after everything that happens in the future between the Mandalorians, that they kind of spread out and they kind of create their own kind of gangs, for rather worse description, right? This is not the large, that's not what's remaining of the Mandalorians, what we saw in Mandalorian season 2. Season 1, there's many more Mandalorians out there. This is just one segment, one group of them rather, and that's the way that group operates. That they have, this is the way, and they don't take their helmets off. It's not all Mandalorians that way. So that's
Yeah.
just me. I'm not trying to be an apologist, but that's the thing. But by bringing in a character like this, you now connect it to the larger mythology of Mandalore. So Bo-Katan is going to be really great. And I mean, what better place to put her on than a show called The Mandalorian? With that being said, we've got another more Mandalorian stuff coming here. So you want to say something like that?
No. Yeah, I mean, it's the voice actress. I mean, how you can't, it doesn't get any better than that, right?
Perfect.
And she already knows the character. It's yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say. Like, it's like when we talk about perfect casting, it's there, right? Um, and no, but that's good because I don't want to go into Rebels, but yeah, the other announcement that broke this week was that Timora Morrison, who played Jango Fett, and the clones, basically Commander Cody, and the clones in episode 2 and 3, is back, uh, and it's gonna be back on season 2. The thing is, right? It's a theory, Star Wars theory time. I don't want to steal the Star Wars theory name. I like the guy,
No,
but
no, no. We like his, yeah.
so so the initial report when I saw the news that I sent to you from IGN was that he was cast as Boba Fett.
Right.
The H doesn't work. It's the first thing, right? Because I mean, he could do the voice of Boba Fett.
The body work and the voice.
Yeah.
From it.
Because Boba Fett, it's technically he was dead, and then he wasn't dead, and then he was dead again, and then he wasn't dead. It's been like that for Boba Fett for the for forever, um, for 30 years basically. Um,
It could also just be flashbacks. Doesn't have to
yeah,
be
yeah,
real
yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Um, which is great, right? If say for example, Moff Gideon hires Boba Fett to look for Baby Yoda, so who knows, right? Um, but that was the initial news that got out. I was like, if he's in, he's gotta play Rex. Because if Bo is in, he's gotta
Oh,
play
yeah.
Rex. And here's what I'm gonna go into theory,
Let's
Joe.
do it.
I think the armor or the forger. I think that's Ahsoka. I think the forger is Ahsoka.
Oh.
That's my theory
From season 1.
from season 1. And you know why? Because I was thinking about it, right? And I didn't see it. Like I didn't see any theory on this and whatnot. It's like this
Sure.
is me like like thinking Star Wars like a total nerd. When she fought the stormtroopers, she actually grabbed two, like, not blades, but tools that she had, and the way she moved, and then you brought up that she was the mocap actress for Ahsoka on
Yes.
Clone Wars,
Yes, she
and I
was.
started like putting two and two together. It's like she's Ahsoka. She's in disguise and she's being with the Mandalorian. Like it would make too much sense, right? It's one of those things. So you heard it here first on No Time, episode
That's a
132.
great theory.
That I think that's Ahsoka in disguise. You can change the voice with a voice changer on the helmet, and she can act casual. It's like, take this kid to this old people that they used to call Jedis, you know, act casual about that, and just keep going. But that's my theory. But I'm super excited that Tim Morrison's back because he's gonna be Rex. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure he's gonna be Rex.
yeah, the Rex thing, that like my mind was actually kind of spun when I first saw the Boba Fett. I was like, is this like them actually putting a report that like, hey, we know the script, we know that this guy's playing Boba Fett, or is this just the media getting something wrong where they're like, he must be playing Boba Fett? Like, I don't know what the deal is here, but
Yeah.
I it was hard for me to mentally believe that it was Boba Fett. And if it was Boba Fett, why would that be the one alone? And my response to you was when you said, hey, I think this guy's going to probably be playing Rex based on some stuff we're seeing and stuff that we thought. I was like, why not both? Like, the guy in theory can do both. We
Yeah.
never saw Boba Fett without his helmet, and from a cinematic standpoint,
We knew
why
we knew
not?
what he looked like based on
Right.
episode 2, basically.
Exactly. We know based off of two, but I'm saying from like a standpoint of like age and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter, right? We don't need to see him without that. I mean, they can do the makeup, whatever. I don't care. But I'm just saying, like, the body work can be done from this guy, and he can clearly do the work of Rex and make it look like, yeah, this clone is clearly, still alive and
Can
good.
you imagine them bringing Daniel Logan, who played the kid Boba Fett, to play Boba Fett? Oh, dude. Ah, and with all the rumors, about and again, the Hayden Christensen rumors are back that he's
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
back on Kenobi. Um, I heard something this week, Joe, that I haven't heard. Um, Actually, again, shout out to Star Wars Theory because he's a great channel. Um,
Absolutely.
it's uh I heard that the original script for Kenobi was basically like a female bounty hunter looking for Kenobi, and then Kenobi was just going to show up on the last episode, and that was the original script.
Well, if that was
And
the case, then Kathleen would be right to say, "Nah, it's not gonna work."
well, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
If that's the case, you can't
that's a
call it
track
Obi. You
record,
can't
Joe.
you can't call it Kenobi and have him only show up
Not
in the end.
not
That's not.
Kenobi.
That's
That's like
yeah.
having a movie called Darth Vader, and you just get the whole way scene from basically like that would be like if Rogue One would be called Darth Vader, and then
Exactly.
and then you get just
Exactly.
Darth Vader at the end.
Yeah. That doesn't
Yeah.
add up. So there's no way
Yeah. Well,
you can't
yeah.
do that.
So apparently, then basically they saw fan reaction and how excited fans were for Kenobi series that they just scrapped it and then reworked everything around Obi-Wan and all this stuff. And now with the stuff that that Ray Parks basically is sort of kind of back,
Oh
and
man.
Sam Witwer's been out there like advocating like tirelessly for this
He's talking
stuff to
about the
happen.
Mandalorian. He's talking about the Kenobi stuff.
Yeah, so like it wouldn't shock me that we get a recreation of Twin Sons on the show, and that would be freaking.
You can bring the
Oh
actor who played Ezra, 'cause the voice actor. He can
yeah,
play him live. Oh my gosh.
I would cry, dude. uh, that would be too much, but yeah, exciting stuff. The series is still on track to come out this October, so as far as we know, there hasn't been any delays. That's based on the info we got. There's more rumors about like a Rebels sequel that may happen. Like they're saying early next year, but I doubt it because of what's
Yeah.
going on. Right? Uh, we'll see. It's exciting. It's a a lot of cool stuff that's going on in the Star Wars universe. So definitely plenty to be excited.
By the way, Obed, I don't know if you've been watching the Disney Gallery, the Mandalorian series.
I haven't, but I know where you're going because I
Yeah,
saw the clip.
it's so good the series, but just because they're only like 30 minutes, 25 minutes long, whatever, and like that specific monologue that Dave Filoni goes on
About the
how
prequels.
Duel
Yeah.
of the Fates is one of the most important
It is
moments in all
the
of Star
yeah,
Wars. Like
yeah.
if that doesn't happen, you don't get everything else. And his whole rant on like it's all about
A
family and
father,
how
yeah, like Qui-Gon was supposed to be a father figure to Anakin, thus
yeah.
avoiding his turn. And yeah, it's
And
nuts,
he
dude.
gets all the way up to Return of the Jedi, and that the exact moment when Luke stands before the Emperor and he throws his lightsaber away. He's like it's not even about the Force, it's not even about the Jedi. It's about like his father coming and
Yep.
being a father in that moment, like
Yeah.
him choosing his dad. Like, oh
Yep.
man, what an
Yeah.
amazing monologue! If you guys have not checked it out, watch episode 2 of
Yeah.
the Mandalorian Disney Gallery that's on Disney Plus right now. It is good
It
stuff,
is
and new episode comes out tomorrow.
very, very good. I mean, definitely, like there's no doubt that the future of Lucasfilm is on that table,
Oh yeah.
like on that round table. There,
You have Taika Waititi already
Taika Waititi,
confirmed.
you got Deborah Chow,
Yep.
you got
Bryce Dallas.
Bryce Dallas Howard, and
Yep. John Favreau.
John Favreau,
Yep. Rick
and
Fatuma.
yeah, and Dave. So that's the future of Lucasfilm, in my opinion. There's no going around it. Like if you put it, John Favreau is the head, that Filoni is the creative head, and the rest flows, dude. And the rest flows.
It's so good. And
It's
you hear the way like John talks in there, and then you hear the way all these people like clearly these are his friends because they all like have the same. They all talk the exact same way. Like their theories on like film and cinema. They have their own styles, of course, but like
mhm.
they all have the same mindset. And I'm like, how cool if you have Favreau running Lucasfilm, bro. Like he would have, and you have these people working under him. Like you would have the same vein, like different creative styles, but that
Yep.
same like consistency, and that's what we've been lacking, I think, in Star Wars since the acquisition and trying to grow it right with Disney. Is that they've kind of had a little too much all over the place. So yeah, I mean, Rogue One is not anything like, obviously what we see in the Skywalker saga, and it's
Man,
nothing like the Solo series. And it's okay that they're different, but there's just not a consistency. Is really
should
what we're
bring
trying.
Edwards back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was unceremoniously like not followed up with. Like that was a guy that you needed to follow up with, if any. So well, moving on. Apparently, there's a bit of beef between Marvel and Rob Liefeld because allegedly Marvel is dropping Deadpool or has zero plans for Deadpool in the future. So I'm not shocked, but at the same time, I'm disappointed. Um, I guess it is what it is, right? Once that acquisition, that Fox acquisition happened, we talked about it offline, and we sort of knew that this sort of thing may happen. But Joel, just give us more info because there's like a Twitter beef, and there was a few things that I caught up on yesterday because you filled me in. But yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like Rob goes into this interview where he's talking, and I'm trying to remember where it exactly was he did, but he did an interview essentially where he started talking about, there's Marvel has not reached out to him at all in regards to continuing Deadpool the movies, doing Deadpool 3. And so he makes a statement. Marvel has zero plans for Deadpool, and look, like I don't personally believe that. I
Okay.
believe that they haven't reached out to him, but just because they haven't reached out to him doesn't mean they have zero plans for the character. I just think that it's not the top priority at the Marvel Studios offices. I don't
Yeah.
think that they were like chomping at the bit, like, oh, the second we get this deal with Fox, we can't wait to have Deadpool. I don't think he's that kind of character for them, really. And mind you, from a financial standpoint, I think Iger made it clear when he talked about the acquisition on the, I think it was on the Today Show or whatever. Like he was saying like, yeah, we have plans for Deadpool. He actually has been on the record of saying like we're good with that, and he even mentioned about it being rated R. And I think that's because Iger is a businessman, a smart man, and he's like, look, that movie's made tons of money, both 1 and 2. Like you'd be foolish not to get some more bank on a third film, right? Um, but of course, Marvel's all about consistency and continuity and just figuring out how this fits into the larger story. They don't just make movies because they make money, which is what made them so successful. So I think then you see Liefeld goes on a Twitter beef, where he puts out a tweet yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, it's a meme basically, two pictures, right? It's one from X-Men Origins of Deadpool in there, and then the other one of Deadpool we see, of course, in the first one in 2016." And he's like, the one with X-Men Origins, it says over it like, when the studios didn't call me, and then the other one is like when the studios did. And you look at the response from most people, I think they all kind of felt the same way, where it's like, look, man, we didn't like, I don't know who you're coming for or why you're getting so angry about. I mean, and again, he has a right to be, right. He's Rob Liefeld, for crying out loud. He
Yeah.
created the character. He has a
Yeah.
right to be wanting to be involved. I'm not coming against that, but I'm just saying, like, no one is like, oh my goodness, Marvel Studios have taken our character and they're not gonna do it. Like, there's no rush about it. There's no urgency about it, especially what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And like, I think I think he's just being passionate and protective about his character, and I totally get that. And I think he has a right to be that way. But I also think that he is jumping the gun and saying Marvel has zero plans just because they haven't reached out to you yet doesn't mean they have zero plans. And also just because Fox did reach out to you for your 2016 Deadpool, which absolutely you did have influence in. I'm not saying you didn't. I think it's also important to note that look, Ryan Reynolds is a huge part of the success of that movie. Yeah, they got the look right, in that movie, but just because you get the look right doesn't mean you get the character right. And that was a match made in heaven having Ryan Reynolds for that role. So I don't want to take anything away from Reynolds and the success of that movie because he really fell in love with the character and brought it to life in a very special way. So I think it's, there's yes, I totally think Liefeld has a right to feel the way he does. I'm not coming against the guy in that kind of way, but I think like temper our emotions. Let's
Yeah.
wait and see. Let's not get too excited. People just love to pick up their pitchforks and join in any social battle online, and it's like I don't think this is even. I don't even think this even is a war. I don't think this is even a fight. I don't think this is the moment to do it. And look, characters in Feige's hands. Hasn't the guy proved himself already? Right? Like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that, in my opinion, or 20th Century Studios um, would rather not utilize the character anymore than utilize him in the wrong way. That being said, you can still get away with a lot. Like we've talked about it. They've released that PG-13 version of Deadpool 2,
Yeah.
and they can just you can bleep them. You can bleep them, and you can blur the violence, and he could make a joke about it. I was like, oh, that's right, we can't do this stuff anymore. I was like, I still can do it, but we'll get bleeped and whatnot. Whatever, you can just play around with that and make it funny, and it'll still be fine, right? um the problem is that you need to you uh, I think the big problem here is um he will not mingle well with the MCU, with which, I mean, again, TBD with the MCU because it's all getting delayed. But um, they can still utilize them somehow.
I
Um,
think they will. I don't think that character's
I
gonna go to waste,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I just don't think that they're gonna brand them under the Marvel Studios banner. I think they're just gonna do their own separate thing and bring him in to a crossover movie, have people excited, and then move on, right? But you know he has every right to be upset. If he
Yeah.
doesn't feel that his character is not going to get utilized in the way that he expects. So absolutely, he has definitely definitely has the right to feel the way he does. So I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Um, Joe, we got all right. You want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima first, or you want to talk about Unreal Engine 5?
Unreal Engine 5. Not gonna
Okay,
lie, man.
okay. So yesterday morning we got the reveal of Unreal Engine 5 and what they considered, or what they said was the engine running on PS5 hardware, with basically a tech demo, a playable tech demo. Um, so it was very nice. It was very impressive. Uh, the new tech that they're implementing for basically recreating assets like rocks and formations and all this stuff, and the engine that they're using to create uh, basically wildlife, where they control like the bugs and the bats in that tech demo. It's all very impressive. I think that again, going back to what I think the most impressive thing next gen is going to be the lighting, and you can definitely see the difference, because you can see light reflecting off of terrain and reflecting off of surfaces, which is not done often. There's a few games that do it in a you know in certain ways. I know that Resident Evil 2 does it in a very nice way, especially if you play it on PC with all the higher settings. You can actually see this bloom effect and this lighting techniques that they apply to the game. In cases like that with the RE2 remake, you could definitely see um, this sort of lighting in place, and with newer cards, your RTX cards, you can see those sort of graphics as well. in select games, like say for example, Control or the Battlefield. Um, but seeing actually run on play on what is supposed to be the PlayStation hardware was pretty exciting. And one comment that you you sent me once we both saw the trailer is like, man, this thing had more gameplay than the Xbox reveal that we saw the other day. I was like, yeah, I was thinking about that because this is actually kind of like playable. It's just again, it's a short vertical slice of what you want people to see. That's what Assassin's Creed should have done. Bring
Oh
something
man.
vertical, show, but no, man. They came out and apologized, and they fell
Yeah.
flat on their face on that one, man. And again, I said it last week. Now it's the time for PlayStation to go ahead and come in
You
and
called
change
it.
and change the conversation. And sure enough, now the PS5 is next gen. uh, you know, you got your Xbox thing with Vampire the Masquerade, and then you saw this tech demo,
Oh my god.
and now you see the contrasting in messaging. Um, was very very impressive. Of course, they came out. Epic Games came out and said that the SSD that the PS5 has the proprietary SSD is very impressive, and it's basically like leaps ahead um, of PC, what's on PC right now. Again, which I believe I have a third gen NVMe drive on my new setup, and I still get load times on games. Like even on smaller games, like I've been playing Sonic: The Lost World with my daughter.
Wow.
It's a Wii U game. Came out for Wii U and PC, and it still has some loading time. You know, it's there. It's pretty quick, right? Because the game loads like super fast, and there's like no issues after that. But yeah, but you still get a little loading screen. Um, so that's all very exciting. Again, we talked about controlling the messaging, and this is exactly what they're probably going to come out and do. There's rumors that again June 2nd is when they're going to come out and reveal the console.
Soon.
There was more rumors that the console was going to come out in October. That was I think yesterday morning, but then Sony actually came out right away and says like,
Yeah,
no,
they did.
we don't have a date. It's still holiday 2020. But they don't but we don't have a date. um Man, this year is going to be so weird with how the economy is doing and new consoles and uh, limited supply and all that stuff. Yeah, again, I'm gonna hold off for another year or so after this thing comes out, and then probably pull the trigger. But man, it's impressive. This demo was pretty nice looking, so I'm pretty excited, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Unreal Engine 5. Can you say triangles? Hundreds of billions of
It's
triangles.
all about the triangles, man.
How about the triangles, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, really, really cool demo there. That's just what I think people were hoping for with the Xbox event that we talked about last week. Was it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just give me some in-engine running actual gameplay. Just you have a character in this demo that's just walking through some caves or whatever, right? Some old temple, whatever. It's really just giving us a sense of what's possible with lighting, like you mentioned, textures. I'm talking about also is the attention to significant detail that's gone into place there. And wow, I mean, I watched it on a 4K monitor, pulled that thing up on a special sit back experience, and I was like, okay, it's a beautiful thing. This beautiful thing. Now, mind you, when I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, it's not running on PlayStation. Yes, it's cool. It's running on PlayStation 5. But I'm sure it would look good. That same demo could probably run on Xbox Series X. I'm sure it would probably look
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
that's the thing. That's the thing about Unreal Engine in general, that it's very versatile
right.
and runs on pretty much everything. Like Unreal Engine 4 right now runs on Switch.
Right.
Like there's Switch games, like there's Fortnite and Dragon Ball Fighter Z and more other stuff that's made on UE4. So that's always been a big a big thing for Unreal Engine is just their versatility. The one thing I've noticed that um, that new Guilty Gear Strive, and also Xrd and Xrd still looks amazing, but Strive looks nuts, and that game is still UE4. Could you imagine what those guys are gonna do
My goodness, it's gonna be
with UE
ridiculous.
friggin' 5, dude?
It's gonna
Uh,
be unreal.
can you imagine? See, can you imagine a Batman game done on that engine? Kind of like what, basically that was the jump with Arkham Knight, because Arkham
Yeah,
Asylum and City were done on UE3, and then Arkham Knight was done on UE4, which basically was a showcase for next gen at the time. And it still looks amazing. That game still looks fantastic.
absolutely.
So, yeah,
Uh,
it's it's
No,
exciting, man. I'm really
no,
excited.
I'm 100% with you. Like, I mean, just it's just the technology itself. Excited to experience next gen and really, look, not trying to go back again to that Xbox event, but it's like they weren't showing first party stuff. It was all third party things that are being shown there. So even if they did show a gameplay demo of, yes, that's what they should have done with Assassin's Creed specifically. Wouldn't have shown the full power. So it would have been still a different thing. So I'm not trying to compare what could have, and it's not the same scenarios.
Yeah.
But I do think, to your point, it's just looking at this from a PR standpoint, brilliant opportunity by Sony. They have done minimal. They have been such minimalists. It's almost like they see that their competitor is struggling with figuring out how they're trying to put together this campaign, this launch campaign, and where most people would say strike them while they're down kind of attitude, like try now, show your might. It's like they almost are acting like it's not even a battle to show up to. It's almost like the response that we've seen from them. They put
Yeah.
out a blog post of, hey, this is the controller, and they put out, obviously this is not even put out directly by Sony. This is put by Unreal in partnership with them. Yeah, I mean, yes, there's rumors. There's probably at some point soon we'll get a blog post again of this is what the console looks like. It's not that they're not taking it seriously and not that they're not working hard, but their strategy is so unique right now. And do I think that they should do more? I'm hoping that we get them more very soon. Like you said, rumors are June. I hope that that's true. I hope that there's something very special that's coming in June. Because look, if you're still saying holiday 2020, June is that middle mark of the year. It's literally the exact 6 month mark. So I think that's the time to start ramping up the next phase of your marketing. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, yeah. Also, PlayStation went ahead and unified their studio branding this week.
Yes.
So they basically changed from uh, Sony Interactive Entertainment to PlayStation Studios, meaning basically Naughty Dog, Gorilla, Sucker Punch, Insomniac, all those guys now fall under the same banner, which is great. And Microsoft has been doing it with even the new acquisitions. Basically they're saying that they're now part of the Microsoft Studios family. And I know that Sony wanted to sort of keep that image that those studios were sort of independent, where they were not really independent studios, uh, but now they're rebranding into a full on like studio initiative, and I think that's great. That's a great opportunity for studios to collaborate, where kind of like what happened with Death Stranding, where Guerrilla collaborated a lot with Kojima, with the engine and assets and all this stuff that they help build. So I think it's a great opportunity for them to just unify all those studios, and it just opens up more venues for the studios to collaborate. So I think that's great. Um, on this PlayStation Studio note, uh, today we had basically a full gameplay breakdown of Ghost of Tsushima. I'm more excited for this game than I am for The Last of Us 2, Joe. this game looks amazing, dude. It's like it because it's my cup of tea, right? Yeah,
No, I was asked that question.
you were
Someone
okay.
asked me. They asked me that question recently. Hey, will you be getting The Last of Us 2 or Ghost of Tsushima day one? And I said, look, I mean, if money wasn't a thing, right? You just get whatever you want. Sure, I
Yeah,
probably would
exactly.
have both day one, right, and time too. But like I said, I think Ghost of Tsushima is day one for sure. And I was like before I even saw the demo. And Last of Us 2 was gonna be maybe when I start maybe there's a holiday sale or something. I don't know that comes with it. Might be the opportunity to pick that one up. Not saying that I don't want it sooner, but that might just be the way it goes. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is where the hype's at for me personally, and I think it has to do with the content itself, really, right? Like, The Last of Us 2 is an amazing, incredible work that's been working on for a while. I'm sure it's going to be talked about much, and even before it's come out, already is. But what they bring with Ghost of Tsushima, this is some breath of fresh air, man. This is amazing.
Literally a breath of fresh air. So
Literally,
yeah, the big thing of the game is that basically they had said before that the game is not going to have any waypoints. It's going to be an open
yeah.
world game, but you will not have any waypoints, so it's up to you where you go. But today they reveal basically what the navigation system on the game is, and it's basically follow the wind. You would stop and you would look for the wind, and the wind will tell you where to go next. It's man. I know it sounds corny, but it's so beautiful that they did it that way instead of just having a giant arrow pointing somewhere or a thing here and there. And then they got little birds that you could follow and you can find secrets. It man, and also looks incredible too. Like for a current gen game, it just looks very very impressive. They showed basically what the two battle systems are going to be, the samurai and the ninja basically, and how different they are. Basically the samurai, uh, you have to work on your parry, on your timing, to get your strikes right, and blocking, and then when you basically switch to ninja mode, you would depend on stealth and intimidation and theatrics and all this stuff. The very man, it's so awesome. Like the ninja sections, for some reason, it reminded me of Ninja Gaiden. I don't know if you played the Ninja Gaiden that were on PS3 and the original Xbox. Um, it reminded me a little bit of that. I was like, oh man, we haven't really had a good ninja game in a while. Although Sekiro came out, it is sort of a ninja game, and it's an amazing game. But this is definitely a lot more grounded. Like this is super super grounded. So far, we have not seen anything that would point to the game having any like supernatural sort of thing going on. So very impressive. I definitely like what I see. Like I thought, the character is customizable, so you can customize him in many ways. Jin. So yeah, man, I am super super excited. I was like, man, I gotta go ahead and make sure I get that pre-order in because
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for that one, dude.
Get that shipped right to the door. Yeah, and the time that they've taken to put this game together, I'm appreciative because based off of that demo alone, it makes sense to me why it's taken so long to put together such an artistic game. Because
Yeah,
like there's a lot of detail that's gone into this. There's a lot of thoughts that's gone into this. They're doing something different, breath of fresh air.
yeah, yeah.
This idea you're saying of the following the wind literally and following these elements like that. That's such a great creative take. That's simple and cool. Yeah, I hope that that when I do finally get my hands on it, that I get a crazy amount of time in on it. That it's a game that really stands out and maybe even becomes a franchise. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, I know that. Like to be honest with you, I think that's gonna be like my closing game of this gen. I don't think
Mm,
I'll be spending a lot more on other games after that. Basically, what comes out after that, I'll probably just watch, look out for a sale. It was Final Fantasy VII. That was a game that I was that was the game that basically closed it for me. But then this game now is like really piqued my interest, and I'm definitely going to pick it up. Like I said, it's more of my cup of tea. I'm not saying I haven't watched or seen or read or heard any of the spoilers that are out there for The Last of Us. It's just that I played the original Last of Us. I played it a little bit later, probably about a year after it came out. Um, and it's just that Ghost of Tsushima just resonates with me a lot more than The Last of Us. I'm sure I'll get to The Last of Us eventually. I'm sure I'll probably get to Persona 5 Royal eventually. When I get uh, Final Fantasy done, want to jump into RE3. I was actually thinking, Joe, of doing a new game plus on Final Fantasy 15
Wow.
because Final
Wow.
Fantasy 7 kind of like got me into the Final Fantasy mood. So, and I never
Going
did
back.
I never did a new game plus run, which is probably gonna be like total overkill because I'm like level 120 or whatever. It was like 113 or something, and just going in. It's gonna be total overkill, but I don't mind checking that game out again, like story wise, and yeah, I again Final Fantasy 7 is UE4, and it looks incredible too. It's there's textures here and there that are off, and that's an Unreal Engine trait of sorts. Because I remember the Batman Arkham games having the same problem, but it looks amazing. The game is really good. It's funny because I saw a news article this week saying that Square Enix didn't expect this game to do so well. It's like we've been saying it for like 20 years. Like we've been saying it since the PS3 was launched. It's like, dude, if you do a remake uh of Final Fantasy 7, you basically print money. And now they went and sold a bazillion copies, and now there's like, oh, we gotta get started on that part too. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully they don't do. So can you imagine they do part two for PS5 on UE5?
Yeah. Oh man.
Amazing, amazing. Because I know that game's already on their way, and they can switch. I'm assuming Epic Games is gonna have a way for them to be able to switch over
So
to the new
so
engine.
so there's rumors around the whole Xbox Smart Delivery, that's something that could also be something in the works for Sony as well with PS5.
Yeah.
That being an easy thing as well, where you buy for one gen, you get on the next gen automatically too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and EA is doing their own thing with that.
yes,
They're not doing the smart delivery, but they are doing their own version of it, which kind of stinks because you have like 90 days up until a certain date uh to be able to actually use your copy on the new console, and then pay for a difference. Super weird, but it's EA, so yeah. Last bit of news that I have here, Joe, and a pretty interesting tidbit. So this morning, out of nowhere, we got a trailer, an announcement trailer for a new Paper Mario for the Switch. So Paper
yeah.
Mario and the Origami King announced for the Switch, coming out on July 17th. So comicbook.com is pointing out a very interesting Easter egg, Joe. So the original Paper Mario was released on Nintendo 64. From today, which is we're recording May 14th, the announcement came out this morning, till July 17th, it's exactly 64 days.
What these
So
guys, man.
so they're so comicbook.com is saying, like, they're speculating, right, that this may be an Easter egg for some N64 announcement that we're gonna get in the summer, which may be that rumored N64 mini that's been basically been rumored for about a year and a half now. So interesting. Take it with a grain of salt, but yeah, new Paper Mario looks pretty neat, man. So I showed my daughter this morning. It's like she's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
She
She
loves
she,
Mario.
she
Oh
loves
yeah.
Mario. So just looking at the little origami, like Peach and the Chai Guys and whatnot, and and the classic Paper Mario. She was really excited. She was like, "Oh, I wish I could play this game. Maybe I'll add it to my Christmas list."
Oh,
So now I probably got to go out of my way and try and find this for Christmas. Although I told us like, well, you need to learn how to read proper first to be able to play this
nice,
game. But
nice,
well, I'll probably do something there.
nice.
And we'll see. Nintendo apparently in July, they pushed it to July. They're gonna have their event. So maybe that same date that we get this game, we may get this game we may get their event. Where they were supposed to announce like this Mario 35th anniversary collection and a lot more stuff coming out this year for the Switch. Because like as of now, basically the only thing that we had for the Switch coming out was Animal Crossings. We did gangbusters, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
especially with what's going on now, everyone's
yeah,
going on it.
yeah, and this is like the second, like the next big Nintendo game coming out this year. Just get announced today, coming out in 2 months. Give or take a couple of days. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, man. Nintendo back at it.
Pretty exciting. I look forward to seeing if you end up getting it, and if your daughter plays it, the next generation getting their hands on a classic here.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, that is what I got, and we got no more breaking news at the moment. So let's go ahead and wrap it up, man.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch and listen to us here on No Load Time. We want to encourage you to stay subscribed to the show. Go ahead, subscribe to the podcast version. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Play, we're on SoundCloud. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube version as well to get the videos. And go ahead and follow us on social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, go ahead and take down our email so maybe you can send in some fan mail. That's noloadtime at gmail.com. That's noloadtime at gmail.com. We look forward to potentially hearing from you, maybe even talking about some of your feedback on the show. It's always welcome. And yeah, guys, stay safe, stay well, and we look forward to seeing you all in our next episode.
Thank you, guys. We will see you again next time.